How's it going, everybody? Welcome to a very strange day indeed. Well, actually, yesterday was the strange day. Today's recovering from the strange day, because yesterday was the day Season 3 Reloaded came out, and with that, we got a bunch of changes. We got a big patch for Warzone, and among those were some really significant changes that we all need to pay attention to. The first big one is Rebirth Island is now 300 health in the game mode, meaning there's no 250 health, meaning there is no game mode in Warzone now that features 250 health. That is a game changer for shotguns and a lot of these other guns now. And among these changes too, we also had a huge nerf to some of these shotguns, as you can see on screen. But don't worry, guys, we're going to go over all of this together. So many different changes, some good, some bad. We're going to go over these right here. Slugs in the Jack 12 and the Origin 12 I'll talk about later on in the video. They did indeed catch a little bit of a nerf, still really good, but a little bit of a nerf. Some other guns are going to come out to play more, so let's just get into it and let's all get through this together. They went and decreased damage by 20% for the following shotguns overall, right? So we got the Street Sweeper, the Gallo, the Jack 1, not the Jack 12, so that's good. The Origin 12, the R90, and the Gracie Auto. All of these, I checked, I went into Clash and tested it out, did in fact receive a 20% damage reduction. All of them used to deal around 120 points of damage in their max damage range up close, right? Now it's 96, so that's basically 20% less. So that means basically at 300 health in these max damage ranges, all of these guns are going to take 4 shots to kill in their max damage range. So that's kind of whack. The R90 is especially whack because that's one of the worst guns, the base gun, right? Without Dragon's Breath, taking 4 shots it's awful. That is a really awful gun. With Dragon's Breath, it doesn't take 2 shots anymore. Because of 300 health, Dragon's Breath on the R90 has been nullified. It's not useless, but it's going to take 3 shots, so you have to deal with like that 2 shots and then the reload, or the pump, I guess, and then another shot. So not nearly as good as it was. Sorry, guys, if you like that shotgun, it's just not as good anymore. The Gracie Auto, I don't even know why it's on this list, because it's like, who even used it? I mean, I guess I was maybe the one of like, I don't know, 5 people who did on the whole planet. And it just, I don't think it needed that nerf, but I don't know. Raven Software has the stats, so maybe they know something I don't. But with the change to health pools, automatic and semi-auto shotguns were hitting a breakpoint where the time to kill remained the same as it did previously. This change brings these weapons in line. So, okay, again, they're doing it because of the health increase. And if they stayed how they were before, I think they thought they were going to be a little too dominant. And I can kind of see that. I'm not saying this is completely unnecessary. I feel like a little nerf was okay, right? It was a little warranted, but it's a little far to, I think, hit some of these, like the R90 and the Gracie Auto. It's a little too far. Because I want to be very clear, these shotguns that are on this list, and mostly these top 4, maybe even the Gracie Auto, they're still usable. They are still very much so a pretty solid force to be reckoned with up close. What's changed is that now they are more unforgiving. So if you're past that max damage range, a little bit further than that, it's going to be more unforgiving than it was before. So if you thought it was more unforgiving before, no, I think it's going to be more unforgiving now because of the health and because of the decreased damage. It's just, they're just not as strong. That's just really it. And you'll see some of the shots to kill are kind of ridiculous once you start pushing that range. I'll show you in the spreadsheet in a little bit. But that's the huge changes for the shotgun, right? This is game changing. And having 300 health is also game changing because slugs, guys, that only worked for 250 health. So if you want to know the downside about that and the consequences of the 300 health, no slug shotgun can one-shot headshot you anymore at all. None of them. So it's basically nullified the combat shotgun with slugs. Everything else was slugs, right? So now you have to hit at least 2 headshots in most ranges, which is just, it's kind of asking for too much. Even the 725, no more, man. My baby's gone. The 725 with slugs, it's got to be 2 headshots, man. Really sad stuff right now, but it's not all bad, and I'll go over that soon. But there was also a buff to the combat shotgun, a Vanguard gun, of course, because they're trying to push the Vanguard sales. So here we have movement speed and aim down sights move speed both increase, so yay. That's not really that huge for me, but yay. Then we have bullet velocity, okay. Damage range increase, that's nice to see, but really that barrel is not as good as anything like the sawed-off or the Chariot. I think those are still the 2 best. The Framble number 3 is the hipfire barrel. Bullet velocity now increased by 10%. Like, some of these changes are like, I feel like they just did it just to say they did something. I don't really know how that's going to help that barrel at all. Whatever. Chariot barrel damage range penalty increased to -20 up from -30. So I think that's a little bit of a buff because now it's only a 20% decrease to range. And then the sawed-off barrel damage bonus increased to 20% up from 15. That's a good one. That's a good plus. Move speed also increased to 5% up from 4. So this is probably the best barrel now, the sawed-off. But we'll get into that in a second because now I want to show you guys the spreadsheet that I made, that I kind of designed. And this is basically really simple. It's going to be just the max damage range for the gun on the left. It's going to be the shots to kill, right? You have your 4 ranges. It's typically 4 for the shotguns. And then outside of that, they don't do any damage. They magically disappear. The pellets do. So we have the shots to kill for each range and then the time to kill for each one. And this just is just how I decided to do the spreadsheet. There's probably a million ways to do it, but this is how I decided to do it. So first off, the ones that were really affected are these 5 right here. Wait, 5 or 6? I'm sorry, 6. I don't know how to count. So again, the max damage range for these are the shots to kill. Now this used to be basically for all of these, it was a 3-shot kill and then another 3-shot kill range, right? But for all of these spammy ones, it is now 4, right? Because of the increased health and because of the reduced damage, it's now 4. And you'll see that it jumps from 4 to 7 shots to kill once you hit that range over here, the 3rd range. And then for the Gallo and the Origin, it's only 6, but that's a pretty big jump. Another 2 shots or 3 for the Street Sweeper and the Jack 12. And then it jumps to 11 for the Street Sweeper and the Jack 12. So as you can see, up close, I mean, compared to an SMG, you're still going to do damage. You're still going to be able to kill people, really. And the issue is when you're pushing past these 2 ranges, mostly the first one. Once you get past that first one, it starts to get iffy because you have to be hitting those pellets a lot more accurately. So once you hit range 3, that's the danger zone, right? You want to stay out of that zone as much as possible and definitely don't go into range 4. I mean, look at the Gracie auto. I put a question mark here because I was like, no way this is accurate, because I looked on sim.gg, right? The damage range that damage range had pellet damage of about 8. So I took that and multiplied that by 0.8 or a 20% reduction. And with that damage, it took like 19 shots to kill at 300 health. So I don't know if that's accurate. All you should know is that just stay away from that range. Do not ever push range like that with these shotguns, more than ever. And I know that's kind of obvious, it's a shotgun, but more than ever, do not push those ranges. Really, really focus on closing the gap. And by the way, they nerfed stim shots, so you can't really close the gap with that slide as much as you could before. Okay, but you know, there's other ways to work around it. But anyway, R90 here, it only takes 3 shots to kill. That's the difference here, and that's Dragon's Breath, right? I didn't bother putting in the normal one. Dragon's Breath is going to be 3 shots at least, right, with the 300 health. So it is what it is. It's probably not the best shotgun to use anymore. I think people are still scarred by it. There are probably going to be a lot of people who are happy to see that it takes 3 shots now and not just 2. So if you thought it was inconsistent before, I'm sorry, guys, but it's probably going to be completely useless to you if you're expecting it to be, you know, this 2-shotting machine like it used to be. So it is what it is. But now let's get into, I guess, some of the better stuff about this update, right? Because with the increase to health, you have some shotguns like the pump specifically that have a little bit more room to come out and play. I talk with my hands a lot if you haven't noticed. They have a little bit more room to come out and play. Like the VLK Rogue is especially nasty. That one's really, really good. As you can see in these first 2 ranges, it's a 2-shot kill, right? And this is basically a theoretical time to kill. And what I mean by that is it's 441 milliseconds based off the RPM and stuff, right? The rate of fire. But there is a burn. Because it's 300 health, you have to wait now just a slight bit for that burn from the second shot to actually kill someone. Before, it was like pretty much instant, right? But now with 300 health, it takes their health to like, I don't know, 290, or rather they have 10 health left or whatever. And then the burn takes away their health and then they die. So you might get kill trades. It's not probably going to be exactly 441 milliseconds. It's probably like, I don't know, close to 500. It's based off the time of the burn, right? So EOD plays into that as well. But the Model 680, the VLK Rogue with Dragon's Breath, their 2-shot ranges were really unaffected. The only thing that changed is now the burn, you have to wait for it a little bit more, right? But Model 680, 11 meter 2-shot kill range is pretty damn nice. So these guns have more room to come play. And the combat shotgun, it just got buffed, right? And as you can see here, this is kind of the main class I think you should be using. 12 gauge with the sawed-off barrel. that's a pretty good combination. As you can see here, the difference here is that in these later ranges, it only takes 3 shots. So this is probably the most solid of the pump actions, and the rate of fire is kind of in between the other ones. So it's really not that bad. I actually wouldn't mind using this, I think, and I haven't gone in to actually use these myself yet. I'm still going to go in and play with them, but this is based off of theoretical stats and numbers, okay? So keep that in mind. But as you can see here, the time to kill, relatively consistent, but like the Model 680, it jumps up to 8 shots at the end. The VLK Rogue takes 10 shots, so that's a big oof. The VLK Rogue is especially weak at range with Dragon's Breath, so Einhorn, not too bad either. It still only takes 2 shots up close inside, I think 4.1 meters. That's the max damage range. If you're in that range, it's pretty nasty. It's a pretty nasty gun, but if you're pushing past that, it's going to take an extra 2 shots to kill, so you'll probably die. The double barrel, again, this is one of those surprising things. It actually has an insane time to kill, 200 milliseconds, because the damage that you get from the double barrel with the sawed-off barrel is pretty nasty. It deals, I think, 156 for, I think, chest shots, right? And you can kind of mix chest and stomach and still get a 2-shot kill. It's a little inconsistent, but it's technically possible. And if you hit those 2 shots up to around 10 meters, it's a 200 millisecond time to kill. That is one of the fastest in Warzone, right? Of course, the downside is you got to reload, right? And after that reload, you can see here, 2,700 milliseconds. That's a huge jump, right? So as long as you're staying close, 1v1s, it's a pretty solid shotgun, right? And the 725 is another really good option, I think. I've always loved the 725 with the sawed-off barrel, not slugs. 4.6 meter max damage range. It's going to still 2-shot, right? It still does 150 damage per shot. Thank God. I was so nervous that they were going to nerf that, but they didn't. So the time to kill on that, about 350 milliseconds. Very, very nice. Definitely one of my go-to shotguns, I would say. 410 Ironhide, completely useless. Do not bother. You're only getting these time to kill values if you're hitting headshots, right? So do not bother with that gun at all. It's just so unforgiving. So sad. I think they need to buff it. But then the Hauer, the weird black sheep of the whole shotgun family, not really too shabby, right? But this is one of those things that I think in practice is a lot worse. For whatever reason, I can never make the Hauer work, but the numbers don't lie. It's technically a pretty decent shotgun, so maybe we need to start bringing this bad boy out and trying it some more. But as you can see here, there's some options. Some of them are pretty bad now, right? But they still work. The spammy shotguns, they're still going to work, guys. You just have to be close. Really focus on getting as close as you can. I promise you they're still going to be good, especially since everyone else also has to take more shots to kill you. You know, you have a little bit of wiggle room too. Even though your shotgun is weaker, it's still possible to down people really quick, right? Compared to them. So, but again, the other good things, Model 680, the VLK Rogue Combat Shotgun, they have more room to come out and play. So I'm excited to go in and try these out. Probably going to get destroyed at first, getting used to it, but you know, it's fun. It's part of the learning process. I'm really looking forward to the Combat Shotgun. It looks really good on paper, but if I was to give you my top picks for which ones you should definitely try out, the 725, the Combat Shotgun, the VLK Rogue, and the Model 680. Those are my 4 top picks. Really, if you want to use a spammy one, the Jack 12 is probably still your best bet overall for more versatility. And then the Origin 12 is my next pick. I wouldn't say the Gala because since it takes so many shots to kill and you only have 12 rounds at most and you have to reload each shell individually, I got to go with the Origin 12. That's my other pick. So those are the ones I think you should try out, but this is such a huge update. There's so many nuances to this that we just have to take time to really figure things out and play with everything. And that's kind of it. Oh, actually, I did want to mention slugs on the Jack 12 and the Origin 12 caught a slight nerf. And it's sad to say. It really pains me to say that, but they did. But at the same time, it's not a huge nerf, right? So it's a small nerf in the sense that some of the damage ranges got cut damage by like 3 points. So essentially in, I think, the second range for the Origin 12 and the first range for the Jack 12, it's going to take an additional shot. So you can't 2-shot anymore with chest shots. It's going to take 3 chest shots because it went from about 152 damage to about 149 or 148 or something like that. So really sneaky, Raven. They kind of just took it down a few notches. So it's like people have like 2 health left over and then, you know, you take an extra shot to kill. But they're still nasty as all get. Really, slugs on the Origin 12 and the Jack 12, I got to throw those in there in the loop too. Even though I didn't show them on this list, they're amazing. Still use them. They're really, really good. Aim for the head, aim for the chest. You'll be amazed how quick you can kill people. But really, that's everything I wanted to cover today, guys. I know it's kind of a weird video. You got to see my face again. That never really happens. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. Pretty big update. Leave a comment down below. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe if you like shotgun content, and make sure to subscribe if you're curious where Warzone's going to go from here, because this update, it gives me a chance to kind of explore the shotguns again and try to find new builds that work, because the health is different, right? So let's have fun with this. Let me know in the comments below what you think, guys. And with all that being said, I will see you in the next video.